You folks know the drill. You know this is the place to be on a Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here at the Voice of College Football, Miami, with the wholesome one. And we always enjoy this hour when we get his breakdown on the Canes. So much to get to. So please pull up a chair, do what you need to do. Maybe you're driving in the car, wherever you are. Canes football discussion with you. Leave your comments and questions. Wholesome one, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing great, Mark. Man, what a good feeling it is to be here on Thursdays and have a prime time slot with you on Thursday nights. It's a great feeling. It's one of my free days, so I'm able to kind of spend all day building up to being able to come before you and the crowd here, man. And we finally have some answers, and I can't wait to break it down with you guys tonight.
Yeah. So take this away wherever you would like to, because we've got new offensive coordinator and Josh Gaddis moving in from Michigan. Of course, Kevin Steele, who had taken the Maryland job, reverses course, comes back to Miami. Cornerbacks coach as well. I think most people are familiar just with the coaches in terms of the names and so forth. But you can either take us to what they had to say in today's introductory press conference, or your evaluation of what they bring to the staff.
Well, okay. Well, we'll do a little bit of both. We'll start out with our defensive coordinator, one of the savvy veterans of the game, man, and been around so much. And Coach Kevin Steele, and it's just so much he brings to the table. But the very first thing, I want to go ahead and put it out here because he answered this question, Mark, and we've been waiting on this answer. What is Miami going to play on defense? What is going to be our base? What's our philosophy? Because for the last half decade, it's been kind of up and down since the turnover chain defense of the 2017 Canes that went on to be number 2 ranked in the country, that finally brought that aggressive nature, that blitz happy, that aggressive defensive line front, and also the secondary with some glue on their hands and getting the ball and taking it the other way. We finally got some answers there. So we are going to be a 4-3 attack multiple defense. Now, that's a lot of what I just said. Basically, meaning we're going to have a 4 down front, and we're going to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage at the front. So that's what attack means. What that means is usually going to have an over or under front. What that means is that either your left outside linebacker or your right outside linebacker, your strong or your weak, is going to be kind of close to the line of scrimmage, where they'll be able to play the run or rush the passer, whether the back is to them or away. So that'll be your main focus as far as the front 7. Going to have your traditional 3 technique, your Tampa 2, 3 technique. Think of your Warren Saps, think of your Aaron Donalds. A 3 technique that is going to attack the shoulder of guards and get in the backfield. That is his job, is to get to the ball carrier, but more likely than not, the quarterback. You want that person to be more of a pass rush D tackle. So they usually don't get too far north of about 300, maybe 305 at the collegiate level. These are your RJ McIntosh for my Miami Hurricanes fans out there, where they're going to be more of that 285, maybe 290 range. And it's mainly where we are flying off the snap and getting to the quarterback. We're also going to have a 1 technique or 2-eye, mostly 2-eye, because 1 technique means you're shading the center. You're more of nose guard, big, beefy. We don't kind of have those guys on our roster. So we'll be more of a 2-eye. What that means is that they're going to be on the inside shade of the guard, usually the backside right guard, and they're going to be kind of shooting gaps. Think of a Kendrick Norton. Think of a Gerald Willis. Think of a little bit of Nestor Silvera. He made his bones on the interior there. Their job is to fly off that ball, but you want to maintain gap control because you're the one that's getting the double team automatically. So you can't necessarily just fly back in the backfield and let a center or a guard climb to your backer and you don't make the play or you get washed. And now we got a 315-pounder making a beeline for a 225-pound middle linebacker or 230-pound linebacker, and it usually doesn't look that good in that sense. You're going to have your 2 traditional 5 techniques. Outside shade of the tackle, you're talking about getting after the quarterback. And that's the biggest thing you want on that forefront defensive line. And Mark, you know, as someone who's watched this game, when you talk about the Miami Hurricanes on defense, it's a very tenacious and aggressive front four, let alone front seven in total defense. We made our bones with being dynamic, small, and athletic at the fronts. Okay, shutting down the triple options of the historic Nebraska teams and historic Oklahoma teams because they couldn't get outside. And you're not going to win games going up the gut all the time. So they want to go out and bust a toss sweep of 80 yards, but the DN is 240 and you can't get around him. The outside linebacker is like 220 and you can't beat him to the edge. And
I
it
remember
really
watching
made
those
things
games. Yep.
yeah, and it
Oh man.
made the Miami defense of that historic national championship playing and fighting kind of team. And that's what we want to get back to. Now, mind you, I'm doing all this talking. I'm excited. I'm happy for it because it's something I played and I coach and I've watched that be successful. But what we're gonna have to do is recruit and flip this roster at that specific position. Okay, our defensive line is maybe C plus. Got a couple of nice, talented guys on there, but as far as a whole right now, that defensive line is maybe C plus into the B minus era. Now, if you start talking about guys like Chance Williams, shows some flashes. Leonard Taylor shows some flashes. Cyrus Moss, but he's a true freshman. Nigel Lee Kelly, but he's a true freshman. So we don't know what we're going to get from those guys. But Jafari Harvey, kind of been a disappointment. Hasn't really shown up much to us. Chance Williams, a little bit in spurts. Jordan Miller hasn't really given us much. So there's still a lot of revamping we're currently doing on that defensive line. But I am super excited and super happy for them to where it's just it's go. Now we need to know where we need to be. Okay, we're calling a B gap blitz, we're calling an A gap blitz, we're calling a twist. We need to know these things, but it's go, 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 go. It's not hold your gap. It's not the 4-2-5 to where I can't shoot too far up the field because we don't have a guy to replace that gap on the interior, meaning the linebacker side. There's only two of them on the inside. We're losing some help there schematically. And this where we're going to have those three backers in unless we're playing a team that requires us to be 4-2-5 or nickel. And I'll get into that in a second as far as what Coach Kevin Steele brings to the table is that when he speaks multiple, he really means I've run whatever my head coach, whatever my personnel requires me to run. That's his approach to it. And he said today, flat out, we're gonna run a 4-3 attack. And I'm super happy. And there's some people who I wish could have got a chance to play in this scheme, like a Nestor Silvera, but he's moved on with his life to Arizona State. I wish that John Ford could have got a chance to do this, but he's moved on to the NFL. But this means that moving forward, the guys on our roster currently and later on are going to get a chance. They're going to get a chance to play in a real Miami defense. Let's move a little bit back, about 5 yards or so, to the linebackers. So this has been kind of a big problem for us, Mark, because in the 4-2-5, you need speed. Okay, you need a Justin Flow. You need a Denzel Perriman. You need these guys, a John Beeson, of John Vilma. You need guys that can fly because it's only two of you in the box, and it's more of a coverage defense. Think more of a Pac-12 or an old school Big 12 kind of defense. I don't think it was really built for what we do here in the ACC Coastal. Now, yes, we do play some spread teams, but not enough to the point where we had to revamp our entire defense. But hey, it is what it is, and it's behind us now. Now, the 4-2-5 might be a bit that we use situationally, which all it is a nickel defense. I don't know if people really know that, but that's literally all a 4-2-5 is. It means that you are now in a nickel base. So you just call that nickel back or that the small corner that a lot of people, you call that a striker. And that's just a linebacker / safety hybrid that was invented. So that's what that has. And that's that's going on there. So now we're going to have a traditional 4-3 meeting. We're going to have a weak side linebacker, a strong side linebacker, and a Mike linebacker. That part of our roster definitely needs some help. We lose B.J. Jennings to the transfer portal. Eventually goes on to Indiana. So it's kind of meh with there. Now we do have guys like Wayman Steed, who gave a little something something to us. We also have a Chase Smith who flashed at a big level for us at the middle linebacker position. Now on the strong side linebacker, this is where it gets a little fancy, Mark, because now the question is, do we move some of those guys who were strikers back to the strong safety role? Or do we move them to the strong side linebacker role? And now we use it as a speed position where it's a strength and not a minus. It used to be a minus and a weakness under the original 4-3 we ran under Manny Diaz, to where Zach McLeod, number 53, would get stuck in coverage as your strong backer and people would just attack him. So now you have to figure out, where do we want to go with that position? Is James Williams going to move to strong side linebacker? He may not be too happy with that. So let's be careful. Tread lightly in that direction. Are we going to have a Gilbert Frierson now as a true linebacker? Something that a lot of us as film evaluators think he could be an NFL guy if he were to just transition to the backer and just go with it. You got nice size at 6'1", 210. Get a little bit more on you. You got a nice view from the game. You were a defensive back in high school. You've been playing close to the line of scrimmage as a striker for 3 seasons now. Go all in on the backup position. And I think he can be an NFL guy and get a nice opportunity to play there, the National Football League level. And of course, you have, like I said, Wayman Steed has been playing some Will and some Mike. So those are a couple names of guys who have flashed for us. Corey Flagg, we'll see. He's more of your throwback 2006 Mike linebacker. He gets the job done once he gets there, but we need speed, and I think that's something he lacks. I'm not trying to disrespect him. It is what it is. It's nothing personal. But like I said, now you get to have those conversations about who's moving to that traditional outside linebacker position. Now the secondary. So we don't have the striker anymore. This is a traditional free safety, strong safety, 2 corners situation. And I think that this could make a log jam at that safety position, because now you have Avante Williams, you have Cam Kitchens, you have James Williams, you also have Brian Balaam, you also have Jeremiah Dunson. It's a lot. It's a lot going on as far as a lot of talent, but that's a good problem to have, if you ask me. And we'll figure it out. And we don't necessarily know now. The studying I've done of Coach Steele's defense, he's not overly subbing. And that's something that those of us who've watched his Canes defense, it was mind blowing. Like, you would make a play and get called off the field for the next guy to run out there, and you just warmed up in the game. So now we'll finally get an opportunity to get guys where they're going to get 80 to 85% of the snaps if they're starters, not people that are going to be out there and every 3 plays you're getting called off the field. So that's a little quick breakdown of the new Miami Hurricanes defense under Coach Kevin Steele. Like I said, man, I'm very excited for the 4-3 attack multiple, meaning that it'll be situational. If we're playing Pitt and Pitt is sticking to that spread concept, you might see a lot more nickel than you would just our base 4-3. But I'm excited for what's going to happen here, especially on the front 4, and what's going to happen as being an attack defense for the first time, and tackling. It's a big thing Coach Steele brought up in his presser today. And some people think it's a little shot at Coach Diaz and his funky way of tackling with the donut Diaz defense, but we'll see. It's one of those things where I'm very, very excited about these young men, because in my position as a part of the media, I like to be critical, but I prefer to be able to say, Mark, we kicking ass and taking names, as opposed to coming on here and saying, why is this happening? And what is this guy doing? And we're not supposed to do that, and questioning everything. For the first time in a while, I'm just confident in what we're going to do on defense, and I can somewhat be a fan. Just be a fan.
Armando. turning the page to the offense here. So he's going with Frank Ponce, of course, coming in from App State as quarterback coach. A lot of people pushed for him as offensive coordinator, meaning I'm not talking about people that are making decisions. I'm talking about fans. And Armando is making the same comment that he would have been happy with him as OC. But he is the quarterback coach. And then, of course, Josh Gaddis comes in as offensive coordinator. The only thing I'm going to say real quickly before you take over this comment is that if you look at App State's attack, they have been extremely run oriented during a really strong, successful run. So they've had Eli Drinkwitz as head coach and Scott Satterfield, and they've been the cradle of ascending coaches to the Power Five, and they just keep humming and winning or coming close to conference championships. They pretty much play in the conference championship game every year. I'm doing a breakdown of 1 through 130 program rankings, and I got the record for the last. I'm working through all sorts of metrics, and shoot, that team is like 55-14 the last 7 seasons. So they're getting it done in the Sun Belt, but they've been run heavy. Chase Bryce didn't have a great season as a quarterback the last 2 years for them, but Ponce has been the quarterback coach, and he comes in to work with Josh Gaddis.
Absolutely. Yeah, the reason why Coach Frank Ponce is brought up, I mean, he has great South Florida ties. Been around South Florida from his days at Coral Gables Senior High School, which is where the University of Miami is located. It's like 2 blocks away, the high school. He was their head coach, quarterbacks coach for a while there. He also made his bones at the illustrious Miami Northwestern Senior High School. He's also done some at Miami Central. He's worked at FIU under Coach Cristobal. Um, and the Louisville head coach, who was the App State old head coach. What's his name?
Scott Satterfield.
He was also he was the offensive coordinator on Coach Cristobal's staff at FIU. The defensive coordinator was also Todd Orlando. So Coach Cristobal has a nice way of identifying some talent before they get their opportunity. But that's where they come from, that stretch run, um, zone scheme that really gave the Miami Hurricanes a big problem this past season. Almost went to us losing to them. We needed a game-sealing field goal from a freshman to beat App State. So that should just let you know where we were and where we are, until proven otherwise, where we are as a program. But anyhow, I think what he brings to the table is, yes, a lot of people swear we're going to be this dive, 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 run the ball kind of team. And you think that because the offensive coordinator that we're going to talk about here soon, he comes from a place where that was happening at the University of Michigan. You also think Coach Cristobal is a former offensive lineman. And if you watched Oregon, they were super run heavy. And you also think Frank Pounce and what he did at App State, their bread and butter was the RPO game, run based, but RPO game out of the stretch run. Now, I don't necessarily think this is the worst thing, but I know deep down from what Coach Cristobal has explained, he wanted to be multiple on both sides of the ball. He just wanted to be able to do. And at the end of the day, Mark, you need to be able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. What that means is if it's 3rd and 14, we need to be able to pass the ball and get 15 yards. If it's 3rd and 1, we need to be able to run the ball and get the 1 or 2 yards to convert and move the chains. If it's 4th and inches or 4th and goal and the game's on the line, we need to be able to move people off the ball and get into the end zone. But let's take a little pivot step over to Coach Josh Gaddis. Mark, do you know where he went from before he got the job at Michigan?
Alabama, right?
He was a part of the spread movement to the University of Alabama in the Air Tua and Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy and Devonta Smith and I'm missing one more.
Jameson Williams and Jalen Waddle.
Jameson Williams just got there.
Jalen Waddle.
Waddle. There we go. And Waddle. He was a part of the reason why they got these guys, because they convinced these recruits we're going to go spread. We're going to air this thing out. And Coach Gaddis and Coach Mike Locksley, who's the head coach over at Maryland, were working together to build said offense that went on to go get destroyed in the championship game against Clemson. But that's neither here nor there. What that means is he's a spread-based coach. That's his origin. Okay, you're talking about a guy who was a former defensive back at Wake Forest. And then he moved to the offensive side of the ball, and he's a spread by nature kind of coach. All right, you're not talking about somebody who's from Wisconsin, 1986 Wisconsin, and he's just going to dive, dive, dive. No, 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 no. Of course, those who are not willing to do deep dive research will just look at it and say, yeah, Miami's going to be Oregon East, and it's going to run the ball down and build a great old line and go 10-2 and maybe win an Orange Bowl here or there. But that is not what Coach Cristobal wanted to do. He understands that that way of doing things is not going to win championships. Yeah, you might win Orange Bowls, you might win a couple ACCs if you're coming out and you're just trying to blow people off the ball. But at the University of Miami, probably not. We need to be a spread-based team that can run the ball just like we can pass the ball. You look at Coach Josh Gaddis; he had 1,000-yard thrower, and they ran for 3,000 yards at Michigan. So they're split down the middle as a balanced team. And of course, he's coaching for an old school coach, and Coach John Harbaugh or Jim, whatever Harbaugh, whatever his name is, and
I once John. Yeah.
John, yeah,
Or
that
are you
guy.
talking about?
I'm
Anyway,
talking about
keep going.
Michigan.
It's Jim in Michigan, John at Baltimore. Go ahead,
Okay, so Jim
Jim.
is of course you watch Michigan, but you had to lean into your strengths. Michigan finished number 2 for the Joe Moore Award. If they did not win it, did they not win the
I
award
think
for
they
the Joe
won
Moore?
it. I thought they won it. I'm not positive.
You know what I'm saying? So if I got the best offensive line, why would I try to force spread if I don't have the necessary pieces? I have an above average quarterback. My wide receivers aren't all of that. Why force myself into something when I have really nice running backs and I got the best offensive line in college football? Why go against that? So he ran the ball and he leaned into his strengths. That makes sense. He comes to now the University of Miami where the strength is quarterback. The strength is scat backs. The strength is wide receiver core to a certain extent. Why not lean into that? And I expect us to see some semblance of what he did at Michigan mixed with what he does at Alabama and a little sprinkle of Miami in there. Okay, it's just that simple. Now, again, for the haters, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I'm not saying Miami's winning the ACC. Not saying Miami's winning a national championship in 2022. What I'm saying is I'm very excited for the coordinator hires that have been put together here at the University of Miami. That might be the best combination of head coach OCDC in recent school history. I'm not going to go super far because a lot of those coaches in the 80s and 90s went on to be head coaches. A lot of Butch Davis' staff went on to be defense coordinators and head coaches. So I'm not going to disrespect them. But I'm just saying in recent, let's say the last 3 or 4 hires. Coach Randy Shannon's head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator combination, not doing it. Larry Coker's towards the end, no. At the beginning, actually, no. Larry Coker didn't have that good of a staff because he fired everybody once. They put the heat on him and he went to the championship game. So let's just say since Butch Davis has left in 2000, this is the best head coach and offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and buy-in from the administration combination. And that's the main reason why. It's because now the money isn't the question. We can go out and interview and we can say we can match whatever you got going, wherever you want to go, we can match if it's about the money. Now, if you personally don't want to work for Coach Cristobal, that's fine. You don't want to have 16-hour days, that's fine. But the people who we brought in, uh, they have been very, very, very open about the fact that they are tenacious recruiters and they want to be tenacious recruiters. Coach Gaddis let it out the bag today that every day, Mark, they dedicate 3 to 4 hours to recruiting. Some people might say that's a shot at Michigan. Some people might say that's a shot at the old staff here at Miami. Don't know, don't care. What I do care about is the fact that we are dedicating the lifeblood, the most important thing, because you gotta be in the business of getting people to love this you again. And when you love it, you'll come in, you'll do whatever it takes for it to be great, and you won't give up on yourself or the people around you. And that goes for coaches, players, whomever, wants to get their hands on this you again.
Our guy Joey Foster has been all over this chat tonight. So Joey is a huge, enormous, crazy West Virginia fan. And he is the main reason why we have a West Virginia channel now. So he's supporting here, and he would like for whomever to head on over to the West Virginia channel. So there would be two basic reasons you'd go to the West Virginia. I'll give it three basic reasons you'd go over there. Number one, if you're a West Virginia fan, obviously, go to the Voice of College Football West Virginia. Subscribe to our channel. Number two would be if you just like any college football talk about anybody, of course, head on over there. And number three is if you're supporting the network of channels and just want to help us grow and get to 1,000 on all these channels, head on over to the West Virginia channel. So Joey, thank you so much for your contribution and support right there. Armando says, why do guys like James Williams not want to play linebacker?
Mark, I know what it's like to try to prove, that you are what you say you are, and you aren't what the people say you are. With him being 6'5", 220, he's probably been told his entire life what he can't do. I also was a part of the crew that was like, no, it just doesn't make any sense. And comparing him to other people that aren't him. That's my fault. He went out and proved it this past year that he can play safety and he can play whatever's required, but you don't want to pigeonhole a young man just to pigeonhole a young man. And I think a lot of us have kind of backed off once we've seen him go out there and do it. He almost led the team in interceptions. If he didn't have a season-ending injury, I believe he would have finished with more than 4. Okay, I think he had 3 of those things anyway. He was all over the field, Mark. And yeah, he did some snaps at a linebacker. He's done some snaps as a rush linebacker, walking up close to the line of scrimmage and, blitzing the quarterback. He's had some sacks, some TFLs, some interceptions, some pass breakups. He's done whatever was required. So in that situation, I think it would be a good idea because then we would be able to have a real coach who can bring him out and really do what a lot of people are comparing him to, Isaiah Simmons, the defensive player from Clemson who plays some snaps at corner, safety, Mike, Will, DN, all over. He's done a lot for that Clemson team. And now if you look at him, if you were to type his name in, it says outside linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals. So, and he almost made the Pro Bowl. He was having one hell of a season. So it really shows you that once you get closer to the line of scrimmage, the ability to make plays really heightens. And with the guy who has that size and playmaking ability, I think a lot of us just saw that it would just make a lot more sense if he could be close to the line of scrimmage and not be thrown away from or not be ran away from if he's already up there. But then we saw, well, hell, if Coach Diaz can find a way to use him in multiple ways, you bet your bottom dollar Coach Kevin Steele and Coach Mario Cristobal and whomever we eventually get to be his linebacker or his coach, period, is going to find a way to use this young man in the best ways possible. And that might be different week to week, Mark. We might be playing a run-heavy team, so we're going to want him close and more of a rock and roll cover 3 kind of scheme where he's sitting there in the alley flats and he just has to defeat a slot receiver's block and he could be right there to make a stretch tackle. Or it might be times where we play a Pitt or Georgia Tech where they're a spread triple option kind of team, and he can make plays there. So that's just the way we look at it, man. He's done well. I'm definitely happy to be wrong about it because I don't delight in seeing them fail. I just would hope to prevent it, and there was no need for that. He was all that that was advertised. He made a lot of plays. And I can't wait to see him make more.
Anthony Manzano really wants Arch Manning to come to the U. He wants you to start a hashtag campaign.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but That Manning family, I don't know if I want to be around that. You can go
Why
somewhere
wouldn't
in the SEC and have a good time.
they win?
Yeah, they're a little corny too.
Oh man,
Woo.
I think that I gotta say, my goodness, is there a legacy like that though in football? It's it's
I
it's
don't know.
crazy when you got who's going to be the grandpa was a number one pick in the NFL draft and didn't have a great NFL career, played for the Saints. They were horrible, but he was a good NFL quarterback. But he was the number one or two pick in the NFL draft. And one was a legend at Ole Miss. And then he's got two sons and they win 4 Super Bowls. It's just I don't know. We've never seen anything like that. Now they've got a grandson, and we'll see how good he turns out to be, but he's supposed to be that good too.
Blessings be unto him. Hopefully he can kill it.
Mm. All right. I'm not seeing any questions or comments in here. We can, what do we want to move it on to? Went through coaching staff, both sides of the ball.
What'd you say, Mark?
I'm sorry, you can't hear me that well, can you? Just no questions or comments coming in here. So I'm just
Yeah, no, hey. If you got any questions, y'all go ahead and drop it, man. Coach got it. So yeah, he talked about being a spread multiple kind of team, and he wants to be spread based, but he wants to be multiple. So we're gonna run the ball some and a lot. We'll probably be more of a 60-40 split. We'll be a run first team. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree we'll be run first. And I think that also helps TBD. So then now we can we can come off of play action and things of that nature, be able to attack teams deep because they'll start creeping up for the run. We can get right over them or a real nice RPO, and that linebacker makes that false step inside. We can get that slant right behind him because he's out of place. It's just having Coach Frank Ponce in as just the quarterbacks coach who comes from a run heavy RPO scheme and knows the importance of what play action could be off of said heavy run scheme and what that can do for the maturation and the growth of a quarterback. And it's hard not to get overly excited, man. It genuinely is hard not to get excited. I'm definitely not going to be one of them that's like, well, like again, like I said, I'm not saying we're winning the ACC or we got the best staff in the ACC, because I mean, a lot of that stuff looks good, on this. Until proven otherwise, once we get out there on the football field, we're a 7-5 team, and we have to go out there and prove it. Just like I said, until Coach Cristobal was able to get his hands on this kind of stuff and get some changes going, we had the 70th ranked recruiting class until he flipped it and made his difference, and we finished out at 14. So what that says to me is until we can go out there and get a proper opportunity when it counts to flip stuff, we're a 7-5 football team that struggles to win the Coastal, that has a lot of growth still left in us. A lot of growth still left.
Michael Love, appreciate your contribution, man. Thank you so much for being here. Mark and Wholesome One, great duo. Like and subscribe, and appreciate that. Armando checks back in to say, what percentage of rushes do you expect from each running back?
That's an interesting question. Percentage of rushes. Okay. I go ahead and answer it the best I can. I think we're gonna have our starting. See, that's the question: is who's gonna be our starter? Who's gonna how we're gonna move in different ways when it comes to your Jalen Knight, and then it turns around and comes to your Donald Cheney Jr. And he also just landed the big time recruit out of Louisiana. Uh, are these people gonna stay? Are guys like Cody Brown and Thad Franklin gonna stay around? It's a lot. So what I would say is whomever it be our starter, I think they're going to be about the out of 100, I'll give them 30. Then I would give them 40. I would give our backup the other 30, so that's at 70, and I think we'll split the other 15 between scat backs and situational backs. The other 30% will be split up between them. The scat backs are situational. So whomever is our starter get 40, the backup will get the 30, and then we'll split up the last 30 amongst situ. Like I said, it could be 4th and 1. You're going to need a Cody Brown or a Thad Franklin to come in. It could be, 3rd and 14. So you want a Jalen Knighton to come in or a Cheney who's going to get missing with just one catch out the backfield, make somebody miss, boom, and take off into open space. So that's where I can that's where I would have my breakdown of it if I could answer
Zulu, appreciate you being here. Wholesome, what are your thoughts of DVD being the special teams coach? Gives him some experience and grooms him for the DC down the road.
that. I think that would be beautiful. I just would want somebody there to help him out because I don't know how experienced he is in coaching that. And it's a very vital part of our team, a very vital part of, it's the third phase in a three phases game. So I don't necessarily know if it would be the best thing to just hand that to somebody learning, but I think it would be amazing if we can get him to learn under someone else. I think that would be really good.
CEO, thank you so much for the contribution. Appreciate you being here. We have Kevin Steele, but do we go hard to get a linebacker coach?
I think so. I think so. Now you could have him as your linebackers coach, but that question was brought up in the presser, Mark, and what was said is Coach Cristobal is still big fish fishing. He's still swinging for the fences. He's still trying his hardest to bring in the best and most talented coaches and most qualified coaches that he can. So, no smoke surrounding T. Will. You remember that name from about a calendar year ago, as before he left us to have his defensive coordinator opportunity that turned into co-DC at UCF. There's smoke about him coming to Miami as the linebackers coach or us going after him. And I don't know if we want to go back in that route. I don't necessarily know. I just know that where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's where a lot of smoke is. But again, that's just from insiders and Twitter people and, those of us who are just kind of trying to play creative staff. Nothing from the actual Miami people have come out about that. So Coach Cristobal even made a joke about that over on Late Kick when he requested to do an interview, and he flat out said, if I were to pay attention to social media, we would have hired 40 different coaches and 10 different coordinators and 8 former players. And, all of us in the Miami Hurricanes fan base got a chuckle out of that because that's how it is. Every offseason, we're playing try to fix the U. And now we finally can sit back and appreciate what we have. And of course, be critical of them and want them to still be great and do well at their job. But we don't have to play captain save the program.
Anthony's here asking, Wholesome One. This question applies to Kevin Steele. When you're a player, did you prefer to have your defensive coordinators on the field with direct contact or in the booth?
Anthony, that's a great question. I've had it multiple ways. For me, per se, there's nothing like having a coordinator be able to look you in your eye when you're jogging off of that field. And they sit us all down and they all of us GAs got to get out the way because they're like screaming and like throwing stuff, especially if you skate with a touchdown. So you got to get all the markers and the white pad out of the way because they come in hot, Mark. I'm talking, they bumping everybody, sit your beep down. I mean, they're going nuts. So you got to kind of just scoot over out the way because they are not happy, especially if you get a touchdown. But it's nothing like when they sit there and they're looking you in the eye and they pull out they grab like yank the the whiteboard out of your hand. You can't just hand them a marker, and they just like, oh, you got it, boom, and they're like slapping the thing, and they're pointing at you in your face like, why are you not there? I called this. Get your behind in this gap. They just kind of go nuts on you. And the young men have a way of responding to that. We've also had where, for me personally, where my defense coordinator was in the booth and he's like screaming at you over the phone, and I mean, you kind of get a little like, yeah, whatever, because he's not in your face. It's different when they're in your face, in your grill, trying to let you know the real energy I need you to bring to this situation, or even in a non-escalated situation, in a calm one where we had a nice 3 and out, where you're sitting down and they're able to pull out the iPads and basically watch the 3 plays that just happened, or draw up on the dry erase board what's going on, and then writing down like, what are you seeing? What's happening here? Are they coming out in this? Is there something different? Is the running back spilling out of the backfield? Is he staying in for protection, waiting on you to see what you do? Do you see him coming across and pass pro? Or is the O-line sliding this way and he feels the nearest rusher? Is he coming out in motion just to pull you out of the box? Are they going split back and they're moving one out the box so that you have to address them so that there's one less in the box and they still just run dive? They want to be able to have that face-to-face interaction with you so that we can get these questions answered for the next drive. So in my honest opinion, I prefer them to be down there, but you need people who you can trust the experience in the booth. You need that and you need it bad, because that bird's eye of everything that's happening and how they're trying to set you up, mixed with the field level, mixed with the players on the actual field, all coming together and making adjustments. That's how you really like make changes at the highest level of college football.
Our guy Joey again. I would like to know what he, meaning the wholesome one, I assume, would think if West Virginia was to make application to the ACC since Oklahoma and Texas left the Big 12. Would he support it, or is he still sour about the 93 beatdown? LOL. Just kidding, Miami fans.
I've always thought that West Virginia should be. I mean, the Big East has basically, they should all come down to the ACC. You ask me. Louisville has done it. Pittsburgh has done it. Miami has done it.
Syracuse.
Was Vatech in the ACC in the Big East too?
Yep.
Yep. Vatech has done
Syracuse.
it. I think it would be, what's that?
Syracuse.
Yep. So it would be a shoot. If Syracuse football is there, West
Boston
Virginia
College
football should be there.
Boston College, pretty much half the league.
Yeah.
The
it would be
ACC is made
perfect.
up.
Geographically, it worked fine. Travel, it works well, and I think it works well. Anybody who knows college ball and really likes the ACC has said for the longest, give us Notre Dame and West Virginia, or give us UCF and West Virginia has been a part of that list academically. It's above average, middle of the road, which is where a lot of the ACC teams are. So it would fit right in. Geographically, it's not out of the way. I mean, we even had Maryland in here at one point. They're a little, it's just, I think West Virginia added to the Coastal would be great. I would love to play them every year. I think it would be really good for the conference, and the way that they play feels more ACC-ish than anything. I mean, you can't tell the story of college football without the small school in the mountains, West Virginia. It's just that simple.
There you go. Toby Rohr, appreciate the contribution, sir. Dennis Smith, special teams coach, DVD assistant.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I would also take Coach Adai, who's the defensive backs coach that just came from UGA National Championship down in Miami. While in his time in 2018, up this way over to the west of where I am currently. No, that's east. Yeah, the east of where we are currently. At the University of Minnesota, he was their defensive backs coach and special teams coordinator for one season in 2018 before he departed. So I wouldn't mind him being able to come in and handle special teams also. Now, I do think that will be a big workload for him to be defensive backs coach, because we haven't split At least up until this point, we haven't decided to split anything. So he's just DBs. We haven't done, safeties and corners, which is what we have been doing before. So for him to have all those people plus special teams, I think could be a bit much on his plate. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's why, to be honest with you, I've always wanted a head coach that has a background in special teams, but I don't know. Maybe Coach Cristobal is starting to add that feather to his cap. I mean, he's an illustrious person and he treats the people well. If he was able to add, a special teams coordinator on that list, I think that would be great for the growth of Coach Cristobal.
Joey loves your answer. Good stuff. All right. When we see people exhorting other people to hit the like button, keep in mind it just is a YouTube thing. They want to see the likes. They're going to push the channel. They're going to push that video. They're going to push this stream. If they see likes, do the same thing on the Wholesome Ones channel. When you check out a video, even if you check out 30 seconds of it, just always hit the like button. Even if you don't have time to watch his videos and only see like one out of every you know what? Take a minute and go down and just like a bunch of videos of his. Head on over to the Wholesome Ones channel. Just like the videos. Do the same thing here. And for example, people sometimes get this a little confused. They'll say, there's 100 people on the line and we only have 50 likes. No, it's a lot worse than that, because that's only how many people are watching right this second. There have been well over 400 people in this live stream tonight, even though it's 213 right now, over 400 total, and we've got like 94 likes. We must have just gotten a surge here. Good. Because it jumped about 20. All right.
Yeah, man, we definitely truly appreciate it, guys. It's the best thing that you could do. It's free. I actually had somebody who didn't know this, Mark. They thought when you hit subscribe, it charged you. Good friend of mine, he was like, man, I'm sorry I never subscribed to your channel. I was like, what do you mean? It's like, I thought it was a fee attached to it. I was like, God, no. That's if you want to become a member and all that other kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just simply hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button, going to the notification, especially for those of you all who love this, whether it's me, whether it's Cam, whether it's Paul, whether it's Brad Tejada, the best thing for you to do is to be subscribed, like as many videos as you can, and be a part of a notification squad and hit all. Because once you do that, now you get notified when we go live. You get notified of Mark's cut-ups of the long. So if you don't want to sit and watch an hour-long video, Mark does you a solid and gets you 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here of the most important thing that comes from the lives. And if you want to watch the whole thing, like if you're at work or podcast format in the car driving to work, you could always just hit the long video. So not to give you a little infomercial there, but just to let you all know, just to into the back end of what happens for us, it really helps us as content providers.
And when there are situations like what happened just a few days ago when the news broke that Josh Gaddis was just hired as the OC, I jumped on here live and simulcasted to the Michigan channel. So we had the Michigan crowd and the Miami crowd and talked about the Josh Gaddis hire. We had pushing 1,000 folks live. We had about 960,
combined, right?
970. That video's got over 20,000 views. So we appreciate everybody doing that. When Manny Diaz was let go, boom, I went live as soon as possible. When Mark Richt decided to step down, when Mark Richt was hired, anything that happens, if I can get to it and listen to the Wholesome One's explanation about the notifications, because shoot, yes, we want to be here and we are here every Thursday, 8:00 Eastern time, like clockwork, but things happen. He's got a busy schedule. I've got things at times, so we have to change it up once in a while. We do our very best to be here when we have said, but that way you don't miss it. If we got to switch it to Tuesday or Friday or whatever, you're going to know that we had to switch the schedule up that particular week. Armando, how well do you think Taylor will play in Steele's defense? I know you were talking about the D-line positions in his defense.
Man, you go back to his time at Auburn, his best players are his linebackers and his D tackles. And a guy like Leonard Taylor, man, Mark, I'm telling you, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see him get an opportunity where he could just go. Just go. Don't worry about anything else. Don't overthink nothing. Just go play ball. Kill the man with the ball, figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking. Get the man with the ball. Put him on his behind. Hop up, do a little celebration, go back to the huddle. Let's do it again. Um, I'm excited for him. I'm also excited for guys like Harrison Hunt, guys like Elijah Roberts, guys like Chance Williams and Jafari Harvey and Nigel Kelly and Cyrus Moss. You know, that's most likely the two deep D tackle that I just read off, D line that I just read off to you. And, it's going to be good. It's going to be good, good, good. And it's going to take a little bit of time to make it come full circle. But we're willing to work for it and get right.
And as we've talked about many times on here, Leonard Taylor's contributions in the limited time and limited snaps that he started to receive, man, boom. And even to the average football fan who's not necessarily looking at the D line, they're watching the ball, watching the quarterback. He would still jump off the screen and it'd be like, man, I think the first game, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that he got any type of significant, and it wasn't, but significant playing time was against Virginia. And I knew he was on the field. I wasn't looking for him. I didn't hear him it mentioned that he had gotten into the rotation, but Virginia was they were moving the ball a little bit. Of course, it was a competitive game, came down to the last play of the game. But all of a sudden, on one particular drive, I just see the middle collapse, play after play, and I'm like, that's Leonard Taylor out there.
Mark, man, it angers me only because I wish people truly understood what we've had to go through. And a lot of it sounds like complaining and whining and blah blah. But genuinely I wish people knew we have been in the dark ages, Mark. the true dark ages, and we just want to see this program held to the standard that it should be. And it's high class, high octane, hit you in the mouth defense. And teams, period. But mostly on the defensive side of the ball. And of course, we all understand this, Mark. And this goes with more than just football. In life, people shouldn't always, treat you the same. They won't. They just won't treat you the same. But they need to treat you fair. They don't have to necessarily respect you, but they damn sure shouldn't be disrespecting you. So just keep it fair. And that's something Jimmy Johnson has said. Hey, I love all of you guys to death. I'm not gonna treat all of y'all the same, but I'll definitely treat you fair. And we felt like under Coach Diaz, the older guys was getting this super uber duper level of love that they necessarily didn't deserve, and that the younger guys weren't getting the ability to play even though they were the best, except for injury. And now we hope, and the only reason why I bring that up is to say this, we hope that that way of thinking is behind us here at the University of Miami. And if you are the best player, then you will contribute to the team. And you will, if you are the best, you should start. You ask me.
Got our West Virginia channel link there in the live chat, courtesy Joey. Get on over to the Wholesome Ones channel. If there's anybody watching, so we're about 186 on the line. We'll get about 3,000 views on this video. Anybody, man, you love college football, love Miami, of course. Get on over to the Wholesome Ones channel. Let me get the banner up here. Boom. Wholesome One Holloway right here on YouTube. You'll find it immediately. Follow him on Twitter, Holloway_52, and lock it in. All right, man. Is there anything else?
No, man, just super excited about what we're doing here. And hopefully next time we speak to you, Mark, we'll have even more answers and have a full staff. And Coach Cristobal has been very open. He's working on just building the best team that he can and the best staff that he can. And however long it takes is how long it takes. The young men have been out there running and lifting the last couple of days during our fourth quarter program here at the University of Miami, which is what Coach Cristobal calls his off-season training, and him and Coach Aaron Feld and the litany. Mark, we've hired 12 strength and conditioning coaches, the most in school history. Okay. So, hey, man, we're going to see where it comes, and we're going to keep it going. And again, not necessarily here to tell you we win in this and this amount of games and pull out the schedules and pull out the rings. We're not here for any of that. We want to be a part of the hard work. And those of us in the media, we have a responsibility to continue to adhere the team to that one, man. I truly appreciate it, Mark. Always the blessing to come here every Thursday before you all, 8 p.m.-ish. Eastern Standard Time, and to talk about the program that I love, man. And I hope you all who appreciate it continue to appreciate it. But if you appreciate it so much, share it to a friend, share it out there on social media, Twitter, Facebook, send it out there, and also hit that subscribe and that notification bell, man. As always, God bless and go Canes.
Check out the ticker below, folks. If you want to bypass YouTube, you can go to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. You can search Mark Rogers TV and donate there, contribute as well. Just let us know it's for the Miami channel right here at the Voice of College Football. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 Eastern with Cam, and back on Thursday, of course, 8 p.m. with the Wholesome One. I also wanted to note here, this is huge. If you love college football discussions, rankings, ratings, Monday on the main channel, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Monday, 6 Eastern, we're going to go through my program rankings. That is not team rankings for 2021. There's a video posted for that. The team rankings for 2021, 1 through 130. I rank everybody. These are program rankings. I did them last off season. They got a good review. Program rankings 1 through 130. We're going to talk about it live Monday at 6 Eastern. And we've got our West Virginia show on Friday night, the Voice of College Football as well, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we will see you then.